Howdy folks, I'm Rebecca Jolly, the Jolly Alchemist, for a neutrino forecast for Monday, the 6th of October, 2025. So, we're sort of bridging a gap here, so I'm covering the juxtaposition cross and the next movement, which is into the left angle cross, which is moving into transpersonal, looking out, actually doing something with what we've all been thinking about and internalizing before. So, quickly, the juxtaposition cross, that is the cross of depth, and what's happening here is the underpinning, which used to be provocation and struggle, the provocation saddle down here in the individual circuitry, is now moving to beginnings. That is abstract and ambition, marrying maiden, which is tribal. So what's happening here is we have our depth and our control all of a sudden getting an activation from ambition, and ambitious people are here to be recognized, and so they get themselves recognized. They have a circle of influence, and in that circle they can have a lot of influence inside of that sphere. So our people, just let me start off with that so that I don't forget it, is Fannie Lou Hamer, and she was, I wrote this down because these people were so interesting. Usually our juxtaposition crosses, I'm struggling to find one or maybe two people that exhibit that cross, but we have here 4 for today. So let's look at them real quick. Fannie Lou Hamer was a civil rights leader, or yeah, I think she's dead now. A lot of influence using that depth to get out and to be ambitious. Yeah, you can see that. We have Reinhard Jessionek. I don't know this person, but they are an Austrian TV moderator. Okay, fine. Ulrike Meinhof, a German journalist, author, bank robber, and protester. Hello, having influence. If your depth isn't going to get recognized one way, by all means, let's do it another, right? This is obviously a highly motivated person to be ambitious and get that message out. And then we have Desmond Tutu. What a wonderful example there of that juxtaposition cross of depth, wanting to, to make a splash, and using that 54th gate, that ambition, that marrying maiden. You see, I also have an activation of it as a, as a push to get that done and start something new. So I definitely see that there. All right. Yeah, so that's our juxtaposition cross. Then we move into the left angle cross of endeavor. Now, once we move into the left angle cross of endeavor, we're in the 5th line. We're transpersonal. We're where people are really projecting on that gate, and they're wanting to see. This is what we want to see when we look at that hexagram, and we're projecting on them, which means we're giving them a time period in which to prove themselves. So in the subject of depth and control here, we're giving them an opportunity to prove that they have the depth, to prove that they can be in control, and then if they can do that, boom, they can rise up. So let's see. 48.5 is action, a preference for action. Now, of course, everything in human design is double-sided, so that would be or insecurity with one's depth that can fail to take action. Yeah. So they have this pressure now, not only to get their depth out, but to do something with it. So it's endeavor. They're really going to be wanting to push that and have that come into action. I will do the endeavor people tomorrow, though, so that we don't go too long on this one. Yeah, they have that depth in them. They recognize, yeah, I know what can make other people feel better. Of course, here we have in the fifth line of the depth this connection to the 18.5. So the 18.5, as you will recall, is that line of therapy. So the therapist and the person who needs therapy, right? Rushing into the 18 or to the 48.5 there and making them think, people need to feel better. People need therapy. I know what can fix people, what can help people. I really, really want to get it out. Or, golly, I'm so, because of the fear of that 48, which is fear of insufficiency, or yeah, fear fear that they're not deep enough. Yeah. Oh, I don't quite have it. I don't have the details. And so when the opportunity comes, they're like, oh, I don't want to tell you about my idea. I don't want to share my depth because it might be wrong. And so they can waffle on it, or they can be just like, yes, get it on out. So there's a lot of power moving through this 48.5 and wanting to get out. And it has a possibility of really pushing on that 16 to get out, which is not the best way for it. It's really best waiting for the 16 to come from someone else, and then bam, they can do something seriously powerful. Like when you put together it's not Gilbert and Sullivan, it's the Bridge Over Troubled Water people, Simon and Garfunkel. When they came together, we had Paul Simon with the depth and Garfunkel with the 16. Boom! They were able to really get out some powerful kinds of depth to the collective, right? That's the way that's meant to work. All right. Our 21 line 5 is objectivity, authority based on objective principles. Okay, to me, that doesn't say a whole lot there, but let's explore that just a little bit more. So what's happening is we want our authority figures to be objective. We want those who are in control to be objective, to be non-emotional, to not be prejudiced or preferential. These are our people that are really meant to be controlling the planet. And there is a note here from Ra that if you don't train these people and give them control from the beginning so they can learn how to do it. In the beginning, they're learning how to be objective, but in order to do that, they've got to not be objective for a while, right? So they've got to make mistakes there. They've got to say, you're controlling this person more than you're controlling me. That sucks. I'm not listening to you anymore. You can't control me at all. And then that 21 line 5 as a child will go, yeah, if I'm not objective, it all spins out of control. All right, so then I have to. They practice, they learn. And we're in this time period of the world where we do not have this line in detriment because it's in Pluto and Pluto's far away from it. So we're rising up a generation of people who will be able to take control in the future and use this control, be powerful, control us, and make sure that we get in the right places. But if we squash them all, then when the time comes in the future that this control is going to need to be blooming and blossoming, chaos. The sixth line that we're going to move into tomorrow is the line of chaos. That's what you get if you don't do it right. So we have a lesson to all of us when we recognize that someone has this fifth line, especially when they're young. And this is, again, part of the power of human design, to be able to recognize this in young people and see, okay, they're not just, a very stubborn, temperamental, they're not just jerks, these children. They know on some level they're meant to be controlled. They need that control. They want that control. Yeah, it's tough. They're kids. but give them something that they can control, for goodness sake, and then they can learn how to do that. And when they grow up, we're going to have those people there who have been taught, been trained, been guided to be our controllers, and they can then control. They can then make sure that all the resources are in place so that our tribes and our communities can be strong and survive. It's a very important energy for us to grow up. But if we don't recognize it and foster it when it's young, which is why human design is so important for children, then we lose a real opportunity to let those people be themselves when they grow up. What a shame. Otherwise, they get bitter. It's not cool. I met one of those. It was not cool. So yeah, she hated me. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Yes, until it learns, it is prejudiced and emotional. You gotta understand that and give those control people some leeway for that. Yeah, depth or insecurity with depth, anxiety. Yes, okay. So that's that. The moon. The moon starts off in 25, line 4. 25 is innocence, of course. We're already seeing 25, line 3 of that in the global energy. Line 4 is innocence, maintaining the true nature of innocence. We just also had this in the global energy, so that should sound kind of familiar. Then the moon will move into 17, where it has been very recently, and where it will also be making a connection there, so that we're going to be getting mental definition for the whole entire planet for those hours while the moon is transiting through 17. That connection, we might as well switch and look to that, is the organizer. We already talked all about this, leading and serving and organizing people so that we have good ideas, good opinions to logically lead us into the future, yeah? Establishing precise concepts for the future. All right. Then the moon will move into 21, which we're already there with the Earth. So yeah, we're going to be getting a double dose of that wanting to be in control energy, wanting to do something with that control energy. And then the moon will go to 51, which is out of the ego willpower center. So this is shock, courage, the desire to be first. This completes for us today this channel of the pioneer, which is naturally following one's unique and individual path with courage. Ra talks about this being the channel of the shaman, really initiating us into a new way of thinking. So we have this opportunity today to be shocked or to need courage. And so if you find yourself in one of these shocking situations today that requires some kind of courage, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. All right, so Mercury. We move out of our moon energy into Mercury, which is coming into 50, line 4. This is our values and responsibilities. 4 is corruption of values, to maintain one's strength despite questionable values. So this is where you're really seeing that corruption. This is where we were talking about that person in South America who was, seeing like, oh, corruption, I see it all around me. All right, I might not necessarily be corrupted, but I can see the corruption around and maintain my own values inside of that corruption. Okay, good to know. Venus is at 57.4, which we talked about yesterday, being integrity despite external oppression. 47 is that trying to make sense out of confusion up there, and it moves into line 5, which is devotion, to accept the burden of finding meaning. Yeah, it's my job. Okay, I'm going to do that. This is going to be something for me. I'm always going to want to try to find that meaning. Mars. Our Mars is still hanging over in 44, line 2 with the down arrow, which was about, quantitative success, qualitative failure, because the focus on objectives is so strong. moving into 44, line 3. This is, of course, our situational awareness, coming to meet, collaboration gate. Interference, the alertness to handle interferences. So this is all learning about those skills on how to collaborate. And of course, that third line is going to be experimenting with that. So you might see people coming into your personal sphere who are carrying this energy. Check it out. See how that works. All right. Our song for today is Fake Fuck by Justin X. Miller. And of course, he spells it without any vowels. So it's all caps JSTNXMLLR. All right. Slightly pretentious, but he's definitely talking about taking control, doing something with that control. And it's also, I get a feel out of it of like, what it's like when a controlled person is not allowed to control. He's really withdrawing. He's kind of aggressive. He's resentful. He's, like, I'm being this fake fuck because I can't be the real thing that is me, but I want to do something with it. I want to get it out. So I thought, okay, maybe it's offensive to some, but I just heard something about offensiveness. It was funny. I said, I wish that people who were triggered or offended by such and such, I wish they would be like those fainting goats and just fall over. If you're offended, just fall the fuck on over and let us get on with it. I thought that's a good one. Anyway, all right. So that's the beginning of looking at that left angle cross of endeavor. Tomorrow we'll talk about the people who carry that. There are some very interesting people on that, and I have made a note to myself not to forget to swing around and pick up those people who are showing us what the cross of endeavor can hold, because there are some really cool people carrying that energy cross for us. But in the meantime, we have looked at the juxtaposition cross of depth, with the excellent example of Desmond Tutu showing us what is possible there. And of course, this tie is all about seeing that the darkness of the depth shows off the beauty and the elegance of what can be brought out in that depth, which is the lovely flower. So that's what's going on for today. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Ciao.